What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I just wanted to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you and your loved ones. Thank you all very much for the support you've given me, and I really appreciate it. Let me know what you think about this all new 2023 Range Rover Sport in the comments below. Do you like it? Do you not? What do you like? And make sure to like and sub if you like this content. Let's get going. We have the Range Rover Sport Dynamic SE trim, which starts at $108,000 in Canada, right around $80,000 in America. The paint job is a classic Fuji white. It's on a lot of Rover products. It's one of the base paint options, and of course you have a lot more available. Now, in case you're wondering, the base Range Rover Sport starts at a Canadian price of $101,000, right around 74,000 USD, while the top trim first editions without any packages are 133,000 Canadian dollars, right around 98,000 USD. This Sport also has the black exterior package for an extra $800, which blacks out all the bronze and gray trim on the exterior, and I gotta say, it gives it a menacing look. The headlights are the upgraded Pixel LED headlights for an extra $700. We also have the added fog lights. That's also an extra $100 for that. Personally, I love the sleek design to them. They're full LEDs, of course. They look beautiful. Just hope you don't break them, because if you have to replace one, they're gonna cost an arm and a leg and maybe even a kidney. The overall front end is a great, modern, sleek, and minimalistic approach to the Range Rover Sport, and I've noticed they're getting a lot less boxier and edgier and a lot more curvier than their predecessors. I do like how they are evolving, and that design theme also carries out through the interior as well, which I'll show you later. The side profile has that classic Range Rover look with the short overhang and the slanted back, and I personally love it, staying true to its heritage. Privacy glass is standard with toughened front and rear side glass, but ours is upgraded to laminated front and rear windows for an extra $916. I wonder what that 16 is for. Along with the heated windshield, which is an extra $450. And those of you that live in cold climates like we do here up in Canada, you can also get heated washer jets for an extra $100, which might be worth it. Now, the standard wheels are a 21-inch 5126 style option, but ours is upgraded to the 23-inch 5135 style in gloss black. It does cost an extra $2,750, and we also have the red painted calipers, which is an extra $500 compared to the black base paint job for the calipers you would get for free. And we also have the full-size spare, which is an extra $750, which I would always recommend just because of the wheel itself being much more expensive if you get it through the dealer. When you get it brand new, it's actually a pretty good deal for the size of the wheel with the tire as well. Now, normally you get the body colored roof on this trim, but we have the black contrast roof option, which gives this Sport the usual two-tone look. It does cost an extra $900. The rear is a mixed bag for me. Personally, I like most of it because of its simple lines. The one thing I'm not a fan of and still getting used to right now are the tail lights. I'm not a fan of the black bar in the middle, except if the paint was black as well, it might blend in much nicer. And the tail lights themselves look a little squished to me, but you let me know what you think of these tail lights. Of course, they are a full LED setup, and they overall have a continuing modern and simplistic style, so at least it fits. And we also have the tow hitch receiver, which is an extra $700 from the factory. And I'll throw the specs up when we're talking about the engine of how much it can tow. Now, opening up the tailgate, the metal scuff plates are an extra $150 an option. They look nice. You'll get 31 cubic feet of cargo volume behind the second row. And if you need more space, you can always fold down that second row and get 118 cubic feet of cargo volume. Now, that's a lot of storage in case you need it. So it's good to have the space and not need it instead of needing the space and not having it. Thank you to Jaguar Land Rover of Calgary, Alberta for letting me borrow this all-new Range Rover. If you're looking for one of these, be sure to visit their website. The link is right below that like button. Okay, so moving underneath the hood, you'll have a few different options. The two lower trims like the S and the SE, which we have, will have a 3-liter turbo 6-cylinder mild hybrid engine. It makes 395 horsepower. It does 0 to 60 in about 5.7 seconds. The HSC trim, which is a trim above this one, gives you the same motor, but it's a plug-in hybrid option according to the website. And that one makes 434 horsepower. And if you want the all-out V8, you'll have to get the first edition, at least here in Canada, with it being pretty popular because of that engine, and it's going to get you to 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds, and that 4.4 V8 borrowed from BMW also makes about 523 horsepower. Definitely one of the last few chances we have at a V8 Rover, so if that's what you're interested in, make sure you grab one. This one also has goodies like the twin speed transfer box for high and low range. It's an extra $350. And you get an adaptive off-road cruise control for an extra $450 for those more adventurous Range Rover Sport drivers. Okay, time to step inside. I apologize if I start a little bit because it's very cold minus here with the wind chill. So we have soft closing doors on our Range Rover Sport. It is not standard, it's an extra $650 just to show you. Boom, there you go, fly it nice and flat. I love the overall just minimalistic style. No trim around the window vent. It just looks so cohesive and smooth, so that's nice. As you saw, we had deployable side steps. They come down pretty nicely. The door panel, it looks great. The usual flat for your armrest, Range Rover Classic. Alternative fabrics for more sustainable materials. You may like that. You obviously can choose to get something else if you want to. The black wood, extra $650. Usually you get a satin steel finish, which also looks very nice as well. The switchgear for the windows, your side mirror selections, your seat controls with memory seating. The handle feels great. The grab handle, sorry, and the door handle itself, nice and thick and super feeling. I love the material. It feels very solid. Of course, the dark chrome makes the door panel look very nice as well. Now let me jump in, because your boy's freezing right now. These side plates down here as well, actually, they are an extra charge. That's not what you get standard. And here we are. Here is the all-new Range Rover Sport. It looks very similar to the all-new full-size Range Rover. And so starting off with the steering wheel, leather wrapped, of course, heated. You get the nice airbag stitching. Feels great in the hand. The metal paddle shifters right here. This wheel's been around for, I think, a couple years, and that was on the Velar as well when it got updated. Behind the driver's wheel here is you have the 13.7-inch driver's display. Configurable, you can have the whole map showing, a couple of dials, or more focused like this. If you go to dynamic mode, it'll have your tack on here as well. And I love how just smooth it looks. Like, look at that. It just looks so cool in my opinion, and especially the transitions between the map and the screen. I think it looks great. I love how the venting, no matter how much you move it, it stays lined up. It looks like it's always lined up no matter what you do. So that's very cool. To shut off the vents, you have to go through the infotainment though. Talking about the infotainment, here it is. 13.1 inches of visual pleasure. The resolution is amazing. It looks super high quality. Here is the map. The map that JLR uses is nice as well. Pretty good in my opinion. Here is the backup camera. 360 cam, of course, your backup camera in person, in real life here. It looks quite amazing. Not gonna lie at all, of course. Let's go home. You have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. It is wireless. It was glitching on me, so it would disconnect at times. So that's one thing. I'm sure wired, it would work great, but it just looks beautiful though. It's just so simplistic. It's not cluttered with buttons, and it's modern, and I think it'll stand the test of time in my opinion, or at least 5-6 years minimum. It's not going to look that old. And then below that you have a wireless charger. Pretty good spot too in my opinion. One thing I don't like, the HVAC controls. You have knobs, hashtag, say the knobs, and I've got to say it. Select your temperature and the fan speed by pulling on it, and then by pushing down on it you can select the your seat heater or ventilation. Now this has that same Jaguar F-Pace kind of setup. This is not individual buttons, it's all, you know, one touch. So if I had to select the airflow, I would press this and all of it would get kind of moved, and that's one thing I don't like. Talking about the vents I mentioned earlier, this is how you close or open the vents, by, you know, doing that or doing this. Right now it's cold, I need the vents. The shifter is the exact same shifter as the Velar. It's a great shifter, no complaints here. It feels nice as well. Your start stop button, your volume knob, your drive mode selector, your cup holders. Look at that, it's pretty cool. And they also have a little sturdy, same trim that you select for your door panels. You can get a nice carbon as well. That's like $2,000. So this wood looks just as nice. Even the base steel would look nice as well, in my opinion. Once you open this up, nice sturdy tray, you have some deep cup holders. And if you need even more space, but you want it to be secret, you can also move this and you have even more space down there with USB-C and a USB-A as well. And once the cup holders are on top of it, you still get a few inches of depth in there. So that's very, very, very cool. I never expected that, to be honest with you. So let's close this up. Your center armrest, classic, soft. The armrest that we're accustomed to for Range Rovers to have, Range Rover Sports and all that. You can adjust this obviously for extra arm support. Once you open this up, you have a cooled center storage. This is actually part of the hot climate package. It is going to cost you extra money. It's not what comes standard. Now, we do have a seat upgrade. So these are the seats as is. Super plushy headrests, like a pillow back here. The design, always comfortable. The nice stitching and perforations look great as well. Plush down here as well. As you can see by my fingers, they go squishy, squishy quite a bit. So we have the 20-way adjustable front seats. They're going to be 20-way no matter what, even if you don't upgrade. And we have heated front seats and heated back row seats. But we have the upgrade that gives you ventilation up front and up back. I think it's an extra $500. We also have the rear view camera, of course, if you have passengers and you don't want anything blocking your view, so that is always nice. Black headliner, you can always customize the color of the interior, and I think you can get a white headliner, and then for higher trims, you could even color code your headliner to match your seats, so it's kind of cool. And then you have a gigantic panel roof. That's always nice. It looks nice outside, you know, but let me tell you, look at that temperature. It's cold, you know, but oh well. This is a nice car. I don't mind making the video in this cold weather. So I'm going to jump in the back seat and show you how much room I have, so stay tuned. All right, time to jump to the rear row. Same thing, the soft closed doors are also in the back too, in case you're wondering that they're not. So you just saw that in action. We saw that air suspension hiss. The rear door panel, all right, it looks basically the same. No cost cutting, soft touch over here, that same sustainable material, the black wood. The seat control, same as the full-size Range Rover. You don't have that much adjustability except for the electric recline. So hey, at least they make it look nice, not like an empty switch. So I'll give them that. This is obviously carved nicely with leather stitched, same metal trim, same solid handle as well. You can unlock and lock all the doors from back here, so that's nice as well. Voice crack. Let me jump in now. All right. Now I did forget to adjust the seat. Jimmy, could you move your seat forward? Because that seat is pretty far back. It's not where I would sit. I'll have to open the door for some more light here, unfortunately, but since it's cold. But I have loads of space. Knee room, I'd say 6 inches right over here at least. And then foot room, definitely. Even with these bulky boots on, I have a lot of space. Headroom, a good few inches up top. The center portion, you have your vents. Same thing, they don't look like they move, but they always look pristine and lined up for people with OCD. You have 4-zone climate control, of course. That's part of a package, actually. I'm not sure if you would get it without it, but you can push these in for your heated and ventilated seats, which is upgraded, obviously. Standard is just rear heated seats. And yeah, other than that, you can adjust your airflow for direction. You see some of that wood back here too, the same wood that you select for the other veneer. You can see some of the interior lighting coming on down there as well, so that's cool. It's hard to see during the daytime usually. You even have vents up over here, and you have nice leather wrapped grab handles. It's lined up. There's a nice LED light back there, as you can see. So I like the attention to detail in this car, definitely. The seats, plushy as usual. The rear ones are usually more plushier. And the same thing with the headrests even. They never cheaped out back here. This is nice and pillow-like as well. Pull down your center armrest. It's in there. That's what she said. And then you have a pretty decently sized and soft center armrest. Press this first button to open it up. And you have some storage, not too deep, but you know, for snacks or something. And then if you have any drinks for road trips, press this one right here and it'll open up your cup holders. Usually cup holders that open like this are kind of flimsy, but this is not too flimsy, I would say. Decently stored. So close that up, open this up over here, and yeah, there is your interior tour of the all-new Range Rover Sport. Now, I'm going to take you out on a test drive, and we'll see how this car really drives. All right, here we are, time to do the driving portions. Obviously, as you can see the roads, I'm not gonna do an acceleration test because it's gonna slip around even with winter tires and it wouldn't be good. But on dry roads, the ones that I had at least before the cold weather came in, it does have good traction, so I'll say that. But even this V6 that you have, or the inline six, or even the 6-cylinder engine that you have, also it's enough power to get around town. And especially in this dynamic mode, the response is crazy. I do know the response is different in different modes, obviously, but when you want to have the most pressure or the most throttle response available, dynamic mode is obviously the way to go. First things first, you'll obviously notice how comfortable this thing is, and that's what you should expect coming out of a Range Rover product. It's super soft on the bumps, and the outside noise is isolated very well. The inside cabin is just nice and quiet, and that's all you could really hope for after a stressful day at the office trying to pay off this thing. That's what usually it's like. The looks, beautiful. I love how it looks. It looks refined compared to the first one. And once again, I'll say the rear light specifically is the only thing I'm kind of getting over still. It just looks like the previous generation's lights just squished down and flattened. Someone put it on Photoshop and squished it down, like that's it. But other than that, like looks aside, it's wonderful. And the engine options, you still have a V8 available, which is awesome because nowadays the mass exodus is coming of all the great engines that we love. And so we know that that V8 engine is probably not going to be around after this generation, at least if I had to assume anything. Now, another thing that I would say I really, really like about this is the interior. It's very sophisticated, and I love how minimalistic it looks. It's not like it's cluttered and makes you feel overwhelmed. It's very simple. The door panels themselves, and you know, the HVAC controls, you know how I feel about those buttons that you push once and everything moves, but I think the individual would have looked better. But I understand they're trying to go with a simplistic look, and that's probably why they did that, to have less things going on. The infotainment, that's great. The resolution is great. The software is great. The only issue that some people might have would be the smartphone connectivity. I noticed my phone disconnected. I have an Android phone, so maybe why discrimination against Android phones compared to iOS. Maybe they might work better. But even that, like, I'm sure you could plug in your Apple or Android Auto, Apple CarPlay if that's a big deal. I really wouldn't be a deal breaker for me. It's just well equipped, I think. Pricing is obviously one of the most important things because that's, you know, the main topic of today. Every car is usually pretty expensive, especially new cars. They're getting more and more expensive now. Like I said, the top trim, the first edition here in Canada, I think it tops at $133,000, and that's without adding any packages. This one, it's the SE trim with a bunch of packages, as you saw in the video previously. This one is on for sale for $144,000. So $144,000 for a Range Rover Sport SE, not a top trim, not a V8. Decent, a big chunk of money, of course, but if you're the type of person that could afford these kinds of cars, then usually it's for a specific reason that you would buy a Range Rover Sport. So, but yeah, the driving capabilities, unfortunately, I can say, fortunately though, with winter conditions like this, it handles great. I do have winter tires on here right now as well. But you know, it handles the roads very well. It does not slipping around, obviously, so that's always great. And I know a lot of Range Rover drivers are usually doing some adventurous things, or they get these because they're also good in various climates. So on the winter side of things, it does overall pretty well. It has low traction launch controls if you need that, so do old ones. But yeah, no, it does a lot of great things well, and it improved upon the previous generation by just updating everything. And if you're a big technology person, I think you're going to love the technology in this because it's wonderful. And just the quality and the feel of it is wonderful as well. You notice when you step in from a mainstream brand to something like this, you're going to notice how amazing it feels overall. You can feel the quality when you're driving. So maybe one day I'll get this on a summer day. That would be nice to do some acceleration tests. But at this point, I will wrap it up with that. Once again, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and thank you so much for all the support that you've been giving me the previous few years. Really appreciate it. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.